Welcome to 1000 PS, welcome to Austria. How stunning is this? This is the Gerlospass and we're here for the Newchurch Summit with 1000 PS. We've had a few days of testing with a variety of bikes, but we've also thrown in a couple of little A2 bikes. So this is the new Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450. That was launched back in Spain a few years ago, because I remember doing the official launch. And we've also got the new Triumph Tracker 400, which is kind of based on the Speed 400 that I've ridden before. In terms of pricing, in the UK for the new Tracker 400 is 5,745, and the Royal Enfield, it's still just under £5,000 in the UK. Both obviously single cylinders, both obviously sharing lots of similarities with their siblings. So the Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450 uses that Sherpa 450 engine that we also find in the Himalayan. There's a lot of similarities between the Himalayan because they were both designed kind of in partnership alongside each other. TFT clocks on the Royal Enfield, really nice. 450 single cylinder engine, 39 horsepower, 40 horsepower nearest damn it, with 30 foot-pounds of torque on nearest damn it. That's at 8,000 and 6,500 RPM. Royal Enfield claim that 90% of that torque is at just 3,000 RPM. We've got two rider modes, we've got the TFT clocks, we've got standard traction control and standard ABS. There's no IMU or anything like that. The Tracker 400 is new for this year, for 2026. It's based on the Speed 400, the single cylinder that I've ridden previously. But they've just tweaked the fueling and tweaked the engine a little bit, just to give it a little bit more oomph. So we're nearest damn it on the same horsepower as the Royal Enfield. This is 41.4 and the Royal Enfield is 39.5. So we're very, very close. The RPM from the Speed 400 has gone up. So that peak power is now at 9,000 RPM. Torque is 27.7 foot-pounds at 7,500 RPM. Again, compared to that Speed 400, we've just gone up 1,000 RPM in the rev range. Interestingly, Triumph claim that 80% of their torque is from 3,000 RPM, as opposed to 90% of 3,000 RPM for the Royal Enfield. This is 173 kilograms quoted wet weight from Triumph, and Royal Enfield give us 174 kilograms dry weight. So obviously the Royal Enfield is a lot heavier because we need to have a 90% fueled tank. We've had the opportunity to ride both bikes here in Austria, having great fun up and down this beautiful mountain pass, but also doing some real world miles down in town, where I guess that's where these bikes are going to live. I've ridden the Guerrilla 450 before in Spain and I was really impressed by the bike. It's kind of punchy, does what it's designed to do, looks really good. It's a really simplistic, easygoing bike with really informative dash. As standard, you've got the CEAT tyres that are not normally what we're accustomed to having, compared to the Pirellis that you find on the Triumph. But they actually work pretty well. When I rode the bike in Spain in really warm conditions, they worked really well. And here in the cooler conditions we've had in Austria, they're actually pretty good and kind of work with that bike. I don't think they're quite as forgiving, and I don't think they give the feedback and trust that the Pirellis do, but if you're pushing either of these bikes to their handling limits and pushing the envelope of grip, then possibly you've bought a different bike and you should be looking at something else. It was my first time on the Tracker 400 and I've heard lots of great reviews about the bike, so I was intrigued to ride it. I'd already rode the Speed 400, but this is basically the Speed 400 in a sportier form with a little bit more power higher up in the RPM. It performs really well. I was really surprised. It's really enjoyable. You can kind of just attack a lot of these corners a lot braver and with a lot more confidence you actually expect. You haven't got that much power, just over 40 horsepower, so you need to carry the corner speed and carry the momentum up the hill. It's really agile, it's really flickable, it's really light, it's really usable. It's a little bit like the bars are a little bit too close for my comfort. They could do to be a little bit further away, especially for taller, bigger riders, because I'm only 5'7". The Royal Enfield on the other side is almost like a cruiser. The seat is really soft, the suspension is very soft, the seat's really thick. That's great in terms of comfort, and the bars are nice and wide and laid back, almost like a cruiser position where you want your feet forward. And it's very, very comfortable, but that does make the feeling a little bit vague because you've got so much suspension travel from soft suspension and you've got a very soft seat. Off throttle, the front is a little bit underdamped as well. You get quite a lot of chatter on the front end when you're off throttle into these corners. We've got endless hairpins here in Austria, and what happens is when trucks and cars go around the hairpins, they push the tarmac toward the outside, which causes ripples. The Triumph did feel the ripples, but it'd cope with the ripples. Well, the Enfield, it was like, there was a few moments where I was like, whoa, you could feel that the front forks just couldn't cope with the ripples and the bumps. They're just underdamped, they need more control. But again, if you're pushing the handling towards the limits, then arguably you've chosen the wrong bike. For me, for riding up and down these beautiful roads in Austria, the Triumph is more revvy, it's lighter, it's more fun, it's more agile, it carries more corner speed, I've got more confidence, and the braking is a little bit stronger. The brakes are pretty similar between the two bikes, but we're just stopping a lot of less weight, and there's more feel on the Triumph, so I can brake a little bit later and a little bit deeper with a little bit more confidence. The 450 Guerrilla from Royal Enfield is comfier and softer, so if I had to do a long day's riding, then that would be the choice over the Triumph. But I think most people in this market are going to want like a town fun, occasional weekend bike, or maybe it's a second bike, something a bit different from their big adventure bike or their big sports bike. And for me, the Triumph is more fun and more agile and more enjoyable to ride. Styling wise, it's a difficult one because I think both are really attractive. I really like the blue frame, the blue wheels, and the Royal Enfield. I think it looks really mechanical. Like it feels really solid. It feels like a motorcycle that I could probably push down that embankment. It would roll over 5 times. I could pick it up and start it again in very much the same way you can with the Royal Enfield Himalayan. The Triumph is more of a styling exercise, I think, with this twin exhaust and the number board on the side, more of a kind of flat tracker kind of look to it. I kind of really like it. I like what they've done with it, and it has a similar mechanical feel. Personally, I prefer the analog clocks with the digital on the inside to the full digital clocks on the Royal Enfield. So it has to come down to a verdict. Which would I choose if it was my money? In terms of price, the Triumph is near as damn it £750 more than the Royal Enfield. Both to me are pretty much bargain bikes. Both make a lot of bike for not a lot of money. But if it was my choice, I would choose the Triumph. I ride bikes like this occasionally, bit of an afternoon's blast, go see some friends, maybe a bit of a commute in and out of town. I just want something light, good looking and fun and easy to ride that my wife can occasionally ride. And that would be the Triumph. But in saying that, the Royal Enfield is softer and comfier and a little bit more forgiving. I think some different tyres would just give it a little bit more of an edge as well. But for me, I prefer the lighter, more nimble, more agile, more fun Triumph over the Royal Enfield. It's been a really interesting test, and I'm really pleased that 1000 PS have put these two bikes together in such amazing scenery. You can't get it really wrong. But what has really come out of this test is not just which bike is the winner, but how much fun these little bikes can be, even on roads like this.